If you've been living under a stone, let me just inform you as to what's been happening to Rust Console in the last couple of days. The thing pretty much everyone has been asking for since this game's released, and if you don't know, at the start of Rust Console, community servers was supposed to be released. It was supposed to come with the game. Looking back at it, I don't know how the fuck they were going to introduce community servers when it's taken this long to then bring it out, but I digress. Community servers is pretty much here. I say pretty much because it's not on the main branch yet. We're still yet to see anything from community servers to come onto main branch. However, for the last month and a bit, I'd say, we've been seeing community servers being tested over on the PTB or the public test branch. PTB, for anyone that isn't aware or clued in on it, is basically a version of the game, so it's different from Rust Console main branch. It's basically a whole different game where it's still Rust Console, however it's going to be a bit more laggy, a bit more buggy, and it also has the new updates. It's the test version of the game for it to be brought into main branch without any faults. And we had the first lot of community testing with 2 times, 3 times, and I think 1 times, even though that's pretty much vanilla. This was hosted by G-Portal, which is going to be the provider of these sorts of servers for us to then rent per month. The prices for that is still, you know, kind of in the shadows. Though basing off like Ark, which is a similar type of game, we basically see £100 as I'm UK for 100 slots. 100 slots being, I believe, players, so 100 pop servers for £100 a month. So the first lot of community servers back on the PTB was basically for a performance testing basis, and this was to kind of gauge and stress test these community servers to their limit to try and see how good it can be. And well, let's just retract here, it flopped massively. I made a video talking about it. Huge flop. Basically, it wasn't even playable. You went onto these servers and you would just get kicked like 3 to 5 minutes later. You weren't able to build up, and there was a lot of people moaning about it, rightfully so. The whole community was basically on D11's back, hitting in their face saying, fix this for God's sake, we want to play. And sure enough, D11 did do that, so credit where credit is due. They done that within a space of a week, I believe they fixed that. So it's really good to see that they kind of got on top of it and got that figured out as soon as possible. So once the stress testing was done on these performance based servers, it was then moved on to the customization of these servers. And sure, G-Portal are the providers of these, however they wanted to integrate content creators and people that are close to D11 to host customization community servers, being solo, duo, trio. This could be 1 times, 2 times, and 3 times, or this could be PvE based servers where it's pretty much just PvP against each other, PvE event. So now we're all clued up as to what's been happening for the last weeks and for the last couple of days. More specifically, I'm going to be telling you why I think Rust Console could actually survive. And this is quite funny because I've been making countless videos as to why this game is dying and why it's going to die. However, not basing it off the hype. I'm not, you know, biased towards the hype of this because we've been waiting for this for so long. I've been playing to this beta, you all kind of know this by now, and I've been waiting for this update since this game's released pretty much. So to see it finally happening, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hyped. However, I'm not going to be riding so much on the hype that I'm going to build up this update to basically completely save the game. However, these are things as to why I think this game could be saved for people, whether you're a PvP based player, builder, role player, solo, duo, trio. I'm going to be covering all of that. So this is probably the biggest thing I think we're going to be seeing within these community servers as to why this game could be brought back to the state that it was near towards the end of beta or the couple of wipes that we first had on Rust Console. And this is that you have a variety. Now, every server I've gone in, and don't get me wrong, I like PvPing, I like competitive PvP, going up against one another, going up against teams, players. However, I do like stories. This is why I play this game. I like stories of revenge stories or going up against other teams and basically seeing who comes out on top. That is the bread and butter of why I love this game. However, pretty much every server I've gone in, you just see TikTok this, TikTok that, go watch TikTok, follow me on TikTok. Every server, as much as people like to say sometimes that that's not the case, it is. Every server I've gone in, I see goddamn TikTok on every fucking vendy, and it's the same old stuff. People on devices, teams on devices, and just either offlining or they just play dirty at Brad or any type of monument that's out at the moment. And this is what I hate. They then give starts to repopulate the server whilst just trying to get a revenge thing going. It just doesn't work. It just ruins it. So these types of teams, thankfully, will be going on to their own type of servers, which is PvP based servers or PvE. And so it will leave those players that are role players or looking for a story to do their own thing. All of these players that don't want to play against each other will then spread across community servers, a variety of servers, to then play what they want to play. And this is not even including solo, duo, trio. These players have been waiting for the 2 years this game's been out to have this because everyone's abusing numbers, which is true. Now we're going to be seeing a whole different side of Rust Console with the solo, duo and trio players that either existing at the moment that have been playing or that are going to be coming back to the game to see how it is. Another major factor is that cheaters are going to be easier to ban. And this isn't me saying that they're going to be completely banned, none of them are going to be able to play again. That's pretty much false. But it's just going to be easier to ban if you have the right admin teams that are given the proper guidance towards what a cheater looks like. Now, from what I know, speaking to various players and people that are already hosting as their admin on their own servers on Rust Console, you're able to third person look at them, you're able to spectate them. So with the right admin teams, it's going to be easier to ban people, specifically mouse and keyboard. It's so easy to see their flicks, their movement. I'd say it's easy to see their recall because although there's still a bit of, wiggle room of bouncing with the hollow that, obviously happens when you're on legit controller, it's weird. It's different. It just doesn't move that much as opposed to someone on a legit controller. And one thing to note, banning someone on, let's say your server, you're hosting a server, someone reports the cheater, you go on there, third person and first person view him, and you think he's cheating, and you have evidence, you ban him. He's not completely banned off Xbox or PlayStation, he's just banned from your server. Now, whether you have a little admin circle where you can say and pass on the information of this player to other admins so they can't let him in on their servers is still to be decided. But they won't be permanently banned off the game, they'll just be banned from your server because you're not the 11, you're you, and this is your server, whereas the 11 obviously developed the whole game. They clearly can't keep up with the ban rate that needs to be happening, so passing it on to hopefully good admin teams that are not going to abuse the power they have could contribute really well to the cheating problem that this game has. As well with admins, you can spectate players, like I've said, you can use God mode, no clip and be invisible. A lot of this kind of gameplay comes from Jade Monkey's newest video, and I have to say I'm surprised at the people that have been chosen to do these kind of testing. When I've been in the Discord before I got banned, so many people hated on Jade Monkey and RazorTube. I think RazorTube is pretty much a carbon copy of Jade Monkey, but as you can see, he's flying around the map, just looking around at the whole map, and it's rendering in sort of well. I expected it to be a bit more laggy than it is. However, it's running pretty smooth. He's obviously on a next-gen console. And one little conversation to be had of this is this linked to anything to do with scrap helis or minis? Now, of course, this is not a direct correlation. It's not how it works. Just because you can spectate doesn't mean you're going to have minis and scrap helis. That's not how it works, unfortunately. However, step in the right direction that you're able to do this sort of stuff on the game. Definitely a mechanic that they're probably going to be using for minis and helis. But it's just totally a different kettle of fish at this point with minis and helis. That's an actual object and it needs to render in stuff at speed, and this does render stuff in at speed, which is I think I'm going to make a video on in its own right because I think it's a great thing to talk about, be on topic, and we could get helis this year. If they bring it with old gen, then I can only applaud. The major thing, in my opinion, with community servers is that the game is now fair pretty much for most, if not all players. This is including solo, duo, trio, and zergs. You have your own servers that you want to go on. You can't, cheat your way out of abusing numbers on these solo, duo, trio, otherwise you will get banned. It's just great to see a lot of players coming back, or players that are existing that have just been waiting for this patiently, and this is their time to now just have fun on the game the way they want to. My last point is you can play however you want now. If you're feeling relaxed coming back from a long day's work, hop on a 5 times, get some loot easy, maybe do a raid here and there. You can get all of that done in a couple of hours on a 5 times. Or do you want to grind, you've got a couple of days off, jump on an official, jump on a 1 times. The replayability is now endless with the variety that community servers have for this game. Whatever you're feeling, you can now do, whereas we were confined in this little bubble of a vanilla server where it was just grind, people were losing kits and then getting annoyed, jumping off and then not playing again. Community servers changes that for you, and you don't have to do that anymore. What do you guys think about this update? Have you tried this update, or is this something you're new seeing? Like, you've watched Jade Monkey's video or whoever's or mine and you're like, okay, I'm going to jump on. Is this something you've played already, or is this something you still need to play? At this point, I'm going to be thanking you every single video, because last video I made, we were at 815, we're now at 860 subscribers. It's just crazy to see the growth on the videos as well. I put a lot of effort into these videos. I do appreciate every single comment and every single viewer like yourself that watches videos. I always like to engage in the conversation, reply to comments, so keep them coming. My socials, as always, are in the description. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you in the next one.